Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the downside.
It's been so long. It feels like it's been so long. For the listeners, it has not been any time, but for us, it's been a long time.
No, we took a Patreon episode off.
Oh, okay. Okay, so for
the listeners are pissed.
Yeah.
They're pissed. There's not enough of them to like start a mob yet.
Yeah.
But we got 2 new Patreon members.
Oh, good.
And just so you know, since you guys just joined after the brouhaha, if you just listened, we released the Josh Gondelman episode, and we talked about. I found out an hour before that.
Yes.
That my dad needed to have an emergency heart surgery. What ended up being a quintuple bypass. Which is a lot.
Yeah.
I only thought it went up to quadruple.
I've never known anyone to have the 5.
And so I basically went home last minute. We'll talk about all of it, but basically everything got fucked up. I got home, and then after seeing my father in the hospital, I was wearing a mask very diligently, but then I had COVID.
Yeah.
I had a breakthrough case of COVID, and I was at my stepfather's house with my girlfriend for a very long time. And then we listened to the Josh Gondelman episode, which we did over Zoom, and Russell really fucked up the whole audio.
Was it just me?
Which could have contributed to my COVID recovery.
Was it just me though?
Yes.
Why was it just me? I felt like when I listened to it, we sounded fine. He sounded quiet.
You were
I'm
loud.
not putting this on Josh Gondelman. I'm just saying.
Sounds exactly like what you were doing.
When I listened to it, I could hear us. I couldn't hear him. So
we were able to make it work. That's all that matters. Okay. We're here. So let me just shout out to these new patrons very quick. We're so excited to have you. So basically, all that is to say, we
both had COVID, and
we both had COVID. Russell probably gave it to me.
It's questionable.
We're the only 2 people. Russell seems to believe that because I live a dangerous lifestyle.
No. I'm saying all of us live a dangerous lifestyle now that we're vaccinated. Yeah. And I'm saying I most likely could have given you COVID. I just hadn't seen you in 7 full days when you got symptoms. So I was like, you had done other things leading up to that. But I probably gave you COVID because we were in a room, many rooms. Breathing free air.
We had a whole disaster. We had a sketch show get canceled. Yeah. It was a true nightmare.
Bad couple weeks.
So our new members, we have Allie. I think your last name is Allie Gelman, or Gelman.
Gelman.
Allie, you know her?
No.
Oh,
hi Allie.
Hi Allie. We're so thankful. Allie, if we know each other and I'm blanking at this moment, please forgive me. But we know each other now. If we don't, thank you so much for being a patron. And then Tova Sterling, a friend. I've worked with her, Zoom projects. My girlfriend's name is Tova with an H, though, so I always get emails from her, and I think, why is Tova? What's wrong?
Tova's
I remember I was like, Tova's booking me, finally. Finally, Tova's booking me. This is paying off. So we now have my girlfriend and another Tova.
Two Tovas. Is a lot of
Tovas
in not that many big of a pool of people.
That is true. An incredibly Jewish patronage going on right now. So well, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
We had a little check-in for a couple minutes.
Yes.
I apologize if I did that awkward thing of like, I'll tell you how I'm doing, Russell.
No. It's okay. There's a lot to go over. And
then you threw a bombshell that you're going on vacation with a friend of mine.
Yeah.
our friend.
I figured you were busy.
Oh, like the rooftop thing you did last Friday?
I figured you had COVID then.
I had recovered by then. I had done the full quarantine.
I thought it was the full. I waited the 10 days. I waited 10 days, so I was.
Okay, listen.
Okay,
let's not
we
fight.
can't fight about COVID.
Do you feel someone near me the other day had a cough, and I felt anxious, and in my head I was like, shouldn't I feel like Superman right now?
No, I've had COVID twice now, and I'm vaccinated, and so now I'm just like, I'm just gonna keep getting fucking COVID. I do think in my head, I'm like, okay, I have a little bit of a window now. I must, right? Like I've gotten the regular one. I got the Delta. So I'm in my head, I'm like, it's got to at least have a few 3 to 6 months of like not going to get COVID again. But
I don't know how variants
we went out to dinner
work.
the other night, and there's a guy like, a few tables away, and he was coughing. And it was like the windows were all open in the restaurant. It was like it was a pretty big place with lots of tables in between everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But it was one of those things where you're like, you can't be at dinner, sir. You have to leave. Like, you have to leave. I don't care if it's allergies.
But that's what's hard now. You have a cough, you have a sniffle. You don't know anymore because...
Excuse yourself. You can walk out on the bill for all I care. Like, it's just... It was very, like... We were like, oh, like, come on, I don't like it. But yeah.
Have you gotten your flu shot yet?
No.
All right, here at the Downside, we're very pro flu shot. Before COVID, I convinced my former friend Douglas, now your new New Orleans travel buddy, Douglas.
We've gone to New Orleans together, you and I.
know.
So I was like, Anyways.
I went to your bachelor party.
Yes, you did. You did.
And did Douglas?
No, he got a job. He got a booking. I think if you had booked something, you would have bailed too. But
I don't think so. I told my agents, no bookings.
No bookings.
Hey, you know how? let's keep the streak going until after this is done. Well, so my dad is doing okay. I actually talked to him before this,
and he didn't get COVID.
He did not get COVID. So obviously,
now we're out of the window of it could be my fault. So I'm very excited for that.
Now, if my dad, I don't think there's this thing with COVID where there's.
No,
I feel like we all have been in it long enough that we don't get mad at people.
No.
I did the thing, the CDC was like, you tell people 2 days prior to when you felt symptoms. Mm-hmm. And, you tell some people and the reaction every time was like, oh.
Yeah.
No, it's not your fault. It's not your fault at all. But it was always just like a
long sigh. Yeah.
You got to go get the test. You got to call the people. You got to just cancel everything.
Yeah. Hopefully that people do that.
But when you're in the middle of it, you're like, oh, well, obviously they're not. I mean, they're doing their best, but maybe they had a sniffle the day before and they thought, oh, I just had a sniffle, and I'm sure everyone's curbing the dates a little bit.
Yeah.
You trust people to be taking care of this fully?
Yeah.
Even I'm doing it, I'm like, this is chaos. This feels chaotic. I'm messaging someone on Instagram I did a show with, and you don't hear back, and you're like, well, do I knock on their door and say...
You can't do a show? Like, no, it feels... It does feel like we're in a post thing where if you're vaccinated, like, everyone needs to let everyone know about, like, when they get sick, have breakthrough cases, but also it's like the thing of, like, no one's living their lives where they're taking all the precautions that, like, would prevent them from being, you know what I mean? So it's like, you can't ever be annoyed. It is that thing of, like, the but ultimately you can't be annoyed with people because you're like, we're all doing stuff still.
Well, also yours was pretty mild. Right?
Very mild, yeah.
I was
like 36 hours of like the most mild. Wouldn't have gotten it checked out if didn't know COVID, was a thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would have assumed I had the flu. I woke up, I could barely move.
Wow.
I felt chills. I don't know if you had chills where it feels like occasionally a slightest wind hits you and it's just like like a bullet goes through. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
And it was horrifying. No smell things, no taste things, no coughing.
Can I tell you something? This is not appropriate. I love, as a fat person, I love when my body does better than a skinny person.
Oh my God.
I'm like, it's like this weird thing where, because there's so much of the time of people being like, I don't know how he got sick. He was so healthy. And you're like, it doesn't, no matter how many times you tell him, it doesn't matter. Like, it does, and there are things that do matter. There's a small part of me that whenever I hear it, I know it's bad to think it, but I'm like, my body did better than your skinny, perfect body.
We know if I had died, it would have made a good case for being anti-vax. Yeah. If you had died, it would have made a good case for joining a gym.
Yeah.
No, well, good. I'm glad I could bring you a little bit of joy.
No, I didn't think that until now when you were just describing. I didn't know it was that bad.
That's very funny.
I know it's a bad thing to think, but I think it's just like something that goes off in my head.
I think the amount of bad things society throws your way, or anyone with some weight on them, that you get to have
some weight on them,
that you get to have as many vicious, brutal fucking thoughts as you want.
Well, it's just a funny thing. You're like, you can't be 19 months into a pandemic and people be like, I don't know how this 25-year-old, we've all seen so many things where you're like, yeah, it just happens randomly sometimes to people, you know? So as when they're always like telling themselves that they're not fat, so or they're not you know, compromised or blah blah blah, I'm just a little like I did it better. But
so I went to my dad's surgery. Has your dad ever had a big surgery yet?
Yeah, he hasn't had one like that where you're like it's the heart, but he's had like almost everything replaced. He's had knees and shoulders and hips. But he had a stroke too, right before COVID.
Right.
So that was like a scary medical thing, but nothing surgery, like where it's like a thing.
So basically,
where you're really worried. You know?
Yeah, I was just gonna go. We talked to the doctor briefly. My sister. So we had just seen each other, and we talked about this in the Josh Gondelman episode. We had gone to my grandpa's delayed funeral, and so my sister had gone back to Florida to college, and we got the call. And my dad's had a lot of surgeries recently, and it's always one of those things. You're like, well, is this the surgery you should go to? Like, you know, am I going to go home every time there's a surgery? Maybe I should, but I haven't. And this one, it was like quickly trying to assess because my dad is such a hypochondriac. Alarmist. It's always hard to tell what is like, but then he, you know, you hear a quintuple bypass and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think any kind of bypass is like oh, the heart is being operated on.
Yeah. So we went, so first I was like telling Tova, I was like, don't worry, don't come. I didn't know at the time I was going to get COVID either. Yeah. So it's just like, I was like, don't come. It happened very fast. Like I found out we did the podcast and then I would have to leave in an hour. And then like truly 15 minutes before I left, I visualized like, oh, my dad dies and I'm there with his new girlfriend and that's it.
Yeah.
And like my mom's not there. My stepdad's there, no other siblings. And like that thought just overwhelmed me immediately. And I was like I was hysterical. I was just like, please come. And Tova fucking got everything together in 15 minutes, I'd say.
Wow. Good.
Yeah, when it comes to travel, she's very pretty, is low maintenance. For her work, it's just like a laptop.
Yeah.
But she did it like ran her apartment. We thought maybe she'd get a later train, but she ended up making the train that I was taking. Yeah. I bought her another ticket on my phone. It was fucking chaos, though.
I love, in the time of crisis, you were like, okay, we can't look at the plans yet. Let me quickly record an 1.5 hour podcast. And then we'll assess everything and leave within 15 minutes.
If I had not recorded that, we would be so fucked.
No, I know.
No, I listen, if it was a lesser guest than Josh Gondelman,
no, I know.
Yes, I would have canceled it. But Josh is a big get for the Downside podcast.
Yes.
So we got on the train, went to my stepdad's. Luckily, my stepdad lives in like a fucking mansion.
Yeah.
Like they're doing construction in the main kitchen, so they use the downstairs kitchen.
Oh, okay,
and that is a huge kitchen. You'd be lucky to get to a place in your life that you could.
And you say stepdad. This is former stepdad.
Former stepdad.
Okay, but still, you still have a working relationship with.
Yeah, more functional, frankly, than when.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, he married this.
He's remarried to someone else.
Yes.
Wow. Oh, that's so interesting. I mean, it's like it's nice that you still have a relationship. You know, like
it was. So my stepfather was my dad's lawyer way back, and very different from my father. My father was, you know, a playboy of sorts, just like rough, curses loose. Mm-hmm. And then my stepdad, he's from Ohio, conservative, kind of buttoned up, very little on the spectrum, I'm sure. And my mom married him. I was 4. We had a horrible relationship, like a classic stepfather mean to stepson. And then him and my mom had a long. In Maryland, I think they may have changed the law, but you have to live under separate roofs for a year, and you have to not have sex during that year. It's in the law, or at least it was at the time. So they had like this drawn-out divorce where my mom lived in the house, but she wasn't allowed to file a divorce until she got her own place. And
wait, you have to live separately and not have sex to get divorced?
To file, yeah.
And it's just on the couple to be honest about the sex.
Sure. Well, I would say
monitor.
I bet it gives power to whoever does if the state's trying to encourage a marriage to stay together, I feel like it's in the state's interest for a marriage to stay together. Let's say one person says, "Yeah, we fucked." And the other person's like, "No, we didn't." I can't see any way that law is designed for anything other than like to force people to stay together.
Oh my god!
Even if one of them does.
That's insane.
It was insane.
It's Maryland too. It's not like Arkansas or like Oklahoma. Like,
sure.
No offense to those. Well, all offense.
No, but I mean, Maryland goes way back. I'm sure this law was like the Pilgrims.
States. Yes,
this is like a Pilgrim law.
Yeah, that makes sense.
John Hancock wrote this one.
Yeah.
And so my stepfather, we ended up like getting closer as their marriage fell apart. Like he used to take me out. We would go jogging. He'd be like, "Gianmarco, you want to jog?" And I'd be like, "Fuck me." And we'd jog for like 3 blocks, and then he'd be like, "Let's walk for a bit." I'd be like, "No. For men, for older men,
walk and talk.
This is therapy for them."
Yeah.
And so we'd be walking and be like, "Why do you think your mom's so unhappy?" And I was like, "I'm 16.
No!
How did I become the voice of reason here?"
Oh.
And it was, I think it was like that.
Do you think it's because they weren't hooking up?
Yeah. You eating the pussy? I wonder if you ate pussy. You ever walking on your parents fucking?
No.
Never. You ever hear them?
No. Maybe once, but like I wasn't sure, and it's like one of those things you don't really want to fully investigate.
I don't know.
You wanted to know at all times.
No, I'm really horrified by the thought of my mom engaging in sex. Really grosses me out.
Really?
Does that make me weird?
No, I don't think it makes you weird. I think most people don't want to really go there.
I remember distinctly once where like I had a bad dream and knocked on their door and my mom was like covering up her bosom. And my stepfather was mad in a way that like, I think years later I was like, he was like really mad.
He was like
he had like a raging cock.
And he knew it just wasn't going to get back to that point after it had been interrupted,
Yeah, I feel like my mom probably used an excuse like, "Well, I'm not in the mood anymore." I feel like my mom, I have a feeling my mom is
he just
is the
had
kind
like that like crazy cum brain. He just like I gotta do it. Oh no.
I had a nightmare. So yes, it's my former it's my former stepfather. I still he was my stepfather until I was like 18 or 19. Mm-hmm. So in my mind, he always says, I consider you one of my children. I'm sure that doesn't extend to the will and testament, but he's been very kind.
Yeah.
And he let us stay there. He's married, but his wife has her own house right now. They both have their own houses. And he like stayed with us. We wore a mask when he was there. But we stayed there. First saw my dad. We recorded on Tuesday, went to Maryland Tuesday, saw my dad Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
And it was intense. I mean, we went to the hospital very early in the morning. The surgery was supposed to be like 10 or 11, so we got there at 7. My dad's girlfriend was there. Thank God. Well, and I had thought they had broken up. Like the last we had heard, my dad always would be like, we've broken up. And then you'd hear them being together again and you'd be like, what's...
Yeah.
So you just ignore it.
You don't get always updates always. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're just like emotionally, this is what my father does. And like many things, I just have totally checked out because I've been told 50 times with 4 different women, "Oh yeah, we broke up." And then the next week it's like, "Oh, Rachel's here." Oh, shouldn't say the name. Whatever.
Yeah.
She's not on here.
Well,
we just have Tovas. We just have Tovas, Jackie, and Lindsay. That's all I know. Yeah. So thank God they got back together or surgery. They were always together, but thank God she was there.
Yeah.
Because my sister was in Florida. She wasn't going to come back up for it. I think she was grateful to me that I was there. Yeah. And I think about that when you have siblings. I'm like, I could use another sibling on my dad's side just for this kind of shit.
Yeah.
So
because the other siblings are not on your dad's side.
Yeah, so I have 3 other siblings on my mom and stepdad's side. But it's like when you think about parents and sickness, you're like, it's a division of labor, it's a division of time, who can go visit, having people to like talk to. Like I had the thought, if my dad dies, I'm like, oh, am I packing up the house?
Yeah, you
alone?
are.
Am I
Yeah.
am I in all the, like, it was a scary,
Oof, yeah.
it was a scary, and I had the terrible stand-up comedian thought where I was like, I have so many jokes about my dad. I can't preface them with my dad's
He's
dead.
dead, yeah.
I wanted to do that dad kiss joke on the Tonight Show. So I was like, he's got to hold out.
Oh, yeah.
There's just a thought about it's one of many things where you're like, my life, I'll be a guy with a dead dad. Like, there was so many thoughts swirling.
Yeah.
I'm just a mess emotionally. Like, I don't know what I'm thinking. And you go to the hospital and all I'm like is like, try to make him feel okay.
Yeah.
But it's tough because how could you feel okay? You're about to get your chest taken open. They're going to take arteries out of your leg, put them in your heart.
Yeah.
Also overwhelmed by the thought the whole time. I'm like, this is my DNA I'm witnessing in front of me.
Yes.
This is a little preview of my life.
Oh, Gianmarco.
So we get there, and like, first thing my dad has to get done is, I guess he wants to update his will. And the only way to do that is to do like a video will. And it's me next to my dad, next to his girlfriend. Tova is filming it as my dad reads from a legal notepad that he just kind of wrote down. He has to have a nurse there as like a witness.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a makeshift will thing. He's on the phone with his like money person to be like, does this legally count if we film it like this?
So you found out what the whole will is?
I found out. Well, it was very small. It was just like my sister an amount, me an amount, this lady that he's seeing, which I was totally fine with.
Yeah.
I have no problem. As I think about like women who are accused of being like gold diggers or whatever. First of all, with my dad, I mean, she's an aluminum digger. If that's the case, there's not a lot there.
Yeah.
I don't think once all debts are paid, but it's also like, yeah, give it to them.
Yeah.
Give it to them.
Yeah.
She is helping him probably shit right now.
Yeah.
I mean, doing stuff that, like, yeah, if you told me, she's sucking his dick probably,
Well, maybe there's probably a window of time where she can't legally.
Legally?
Not legally. Medically, sorry.
I can't imagine men letting that law pass legally. Men have never made blowjobs illegal.
Well, your heart, you don't want to like get things too excited. I'm assuming the first week
You assume my dad comes like I do on stage, like, oh, fuck.
I'm just saying, in any state like that, I'm sure they're not like, try to avoid some activities.
Yes.
I would bet blowjobs is on that list.
Well, so they showed us this video. This is like right before. So you're doing the thing. You're there. We're in the room for 3 hours, and I'm trying to be sweet with my dad, but we struggle to keep a 5-minute conversation going these days. And here I am, like, trying to fill
so
3
high.
hours. Everything's high intensity.
Yeah.
And you're trying to be there. I'm trying to, like, in your head, you're like, okay, what if this is the last hour I have with my father? What am I doing? And so you're trying to like take it in. You're trying to be in the moment. I really like put my phone away for the first time in 10 years. Just like put it away. Just try to be present. And then you get like bored. Yeah. And you're like, so we filmed this will. It was the first self-tape Tova ever did where she had no notes. She wanted to get that shit done.
Yeah.
And poor Tova, this is her first time meeting my dad.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And she's just like, and I'm not paying attention to her because I'm in my own fucking headspace and just trying to be with my dad. And she's just there.
Yeah.
Horrible position. I mean, really took a bullet.
She gets some good footage though.
Yeah, we still have it. I mean, we still have it. I put a picture of it on Instagram, but I took out the girlfriend. I don't think she's online.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things I'm like, even talking about it now, I'm like, should you be talking about the will stuff? But who cares? My sister got more. No, but she's younger. She has school. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I really, my life plan is not banking on my dad's
will. Yeah.
Will. I think I must have.
You want to try to bleed him dry before then.
Oh God. Well, it is like, I can't imagine. It's one of those things. My dad held me out financially long enough where, like, I think it really hurt the relationship because I didn't call him out on behavior that I hated.
Yeah.
And because I was like, well, I need him to, I don't want him to cut me off.
Yeah.
I want to be him in a good mood. So I think looking back on that time in my life, I'm like, that was bad. That's bad. Parents, if you're financially dependent on your parents, at a certain point, like it just puts you it prevents you from like fixing your relationship.
Yeah,
I think
for sure. Yeah.
So, so we do the will. Then they bring in this video that shows like what the recovery will look like, which it felt like they should have showed it to him any other time when he's recovering or like the day before. But it was like a 25-minute
oh my God
industrial, and it's horrifying. And the man in it was like 80, which my dad did not like. My dad's like 68. And so this man, they were showing like a senile man being helped, and the actor was really good. There was a scene where he cried.
Oh my God.
And I was like, for an industrial, that's incredible.
That's a tall order.
And I thought about actors do those videos, and I said, for some people, it's going to be the last movie they ever see. Like they should hire some bigger writers. Seth Rogen, maybe just punch up one of these things, give him a little bit of jokes.
My God, yeah, that is true. I hadn't thought of that. That's a long video though for that sort of.
We didn't even finish it. We had to go to surgery.
They just let you not finish it.
Yeah, they just paused it, and I was like, "Is there nothing else?"
They're really.
I mean, it was all about you can't use your upper body for a long time, and that's why pooping.
Yeah.
Was that what you were going to say? Or you meant the blowjob?
That's why I was maybe blowjobs are.
So he can't like.
Oh my God, Gianmarco.
All right. The reason that's very graphic. There's a bit that a comedian. I've seen several comedians do it. I don't know who stole it from who.
Yeah.
But it's like something about like, and then it's a black man. It's only a black man could do this bit where it was something about like the sound a woman going.
Do it.
And they do this.
God.
It's like this. It's them talking about the sound they make, presumably because they're large penis.
Gianmarco,
and
you're gonna have to cut all this out.
No, that's what the bit is. That's the bit that they do.
Why are you telling me the bit?
Well, because then they point to like someone like me in the audience, and they go, "This guy doesn't even know the." And when I was hosting at the time, I would always go on stage and I'd be like, "I've never heard." I've just heard or something like
Marco,
that was my
these sounds are it's worse I think probably for people who can't see it. Okay, so your dad can't.
So my dad he goes into surgery. It's not, I've had a couple I think this is like my third saying farewell to my dad before a surgery type thing.
Oh my God.
Or like just a really like, I'm like, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna make it through. And he said to me right before, he said, "I'm sorry for ever hurting you or your mom, your mother."
Ugh.
And that's not like, oh fuck, he's gonna die.
Yeah.
That's the apology to my mom.
Yeah.
That's a rare one.
You were like, hold on, let me get her on the phone real quick.
He'd be like, no, never mind.
No, you can relay it.
I did tell. It's one of those things because they were. I want to just make sure I have the right. That we're not going to be late for. Okay, he's 4:30.
My phone's been crazy.
Oh yes, we're recording with Ian Fidance. It's actually coming out the same day as this episode is coming out. It's one of those things like they're divorced. They presumably hate each other. I don't know if they'd kill each other if it was legal. My dad would probably kill her, and then apologize for it before the next surgery. I'm sorry, it killed your mother. But they are always curious about each other.
Yeah.
There's this weird thing, and it always made me mad because I feel like my dad was always like, "How's your mom doing?" And there was a lot of times where I'd be like, "What the fuck do you care? Are you serious?
Yeah.
You want to know how the woman because you couldn't get along, you made my life a fucking nightmare?"
Yeah.
But it's like there's this curiosity.
What happens when it's good? Like, is there any follow up, or is it just like a general question that they don't really ask a lot of follow up?
Not a lot of follow up.
Yeah.
But because I don't offer much.
Right.
Because I think
you're like still alive.
I think I go like, they're doing great.
Yeah.
And this is more my dad. My mom is curious in general. My mom keeps track. But my dad, I feel like he wants me to be like, my mom's miserable.
Yeah.
She is a miserable cunt. And he'd be like, high five.
Yeah.
So, but he apologized. He said that it was sweet. It was emotional. Obviously weird because of COVID. And I was wearing 2 masks. Thank God.
Thank God.
In retrospect.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And then I left. And also the thing is, so it seemed like his girlfriend, she had been at the hospital before, so she was like, she knew the nurses more than me, all this stuff, and she would give me updates along the way. But she talks in this way. She talks like with a tone of voice, like she's about to tell you your dad died.
Oh my God.
Like everything she says has that tone.
Oh, no.
So I'd pick up the phone. She'd be like, "Hey,
Oh.
so we got an update about your dad," and you'd be like, "Say it now."
You just go right into it. Okay, so heard from the doctor, blah. Like
Yeah,
that's
of
all.
course.
That's it.
Immediately.
Hey.
Good.
Yeah.
Great news.
Yeah.
So we're getting these. It's a long procedure. It's like they said it would be 5 hours.
Yeah.
Ended up being like 6.5, if I had to guess. And we're just getting text updates that say the procedure has commenced. The procedure is continuing.
Yeah.
The procedure is continuing. Every hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
So you're at home and I'm trying to like figure out anything to take my mind off it, but you're just checking your phone. And I would always text back like, any other updates? Is the
Yeah.
procedure continue? Is it going well? Am I going to get a text?
Are you texting a real person or is it like a automated?
I feel like it must have been automated or maybe it's a real person, but they just type that in and then they go away.
Yeah.
Or they have like, 50 operations going on at
Yeah.
the same time. But definitely. And then I had the thought like, is there going to be a text of the procedure failed? Your dad's like, would it be your dad's dead? Or would it be like, would I get a call? Would it be like
The
go to the
procedure
hospital
failed. End of.
fast?
Oh my God.
Like, I don't know what happens. I don't know.
Yeah.
They said that they say about the surgery, the doctor said there's a 1.5% chance of dying on the table.
Yeah.
So horrifying.
Yeah.
And he ended up, he made it through. I couldn't see him the next day because the next morning I felt sick and got the COVID test. But I talked to him and he was like a lot of pain. He broke some ribs, which sometimes
In the
happens.
surgery?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then got better. He's doing pretty well now. I was like, relax, try to watch TV or something, and he was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna try to use this time off to get into Bach. And I was
The musician.
the musician Bach. He said, I've always enjoyed Bach, and what he means when he says that is that he once every 3 years. He's in an elevator. He goes, "What's that?" And someone's like, "Oh, it's Bach, Sonata number 55."
Yeah.
And he's like, And now he's like, "I'm going to get into that." One of these things where I'm like, you're hoping after a possibly life-ending surgery, you're like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go on vacation.
Maybe it'll
more.
be really relaxing though. He'll get into Bach. And he'll know all the sonatas.
No chance.
All the movements.
No chance.
All.
Not in a bazillion. You want to be like, you know what? I decided I'm going to travel more. He's scared of flying. He hasn't flown in 15 years or something.
Really?
He's like, you know what? Maybe I'm no, I'm going to see my son more. I'm going to try to remember when my son tells me things about his life. I'm going to try to not go, what's your girlfriend? Tuva, Tiva, Tava, Tova.
I'm going to try not to use gibberish names when remembering my son's girlfriend's name.
I mean, you would hope it would be one of those things, but it was one of those, like, once a couple days in, it was just like, nothing has changed.
He's like, Bach's boring.
He's one of those who'll get like, he was going to get into watercolor, and then because he did it once, and then he buys $500 worth of the shit and never touches it again.
Yeah, I always feel for people that I get obsessive about things, but I don't like usually get ahead of I don't get like I'm gonna do this and then like I'm not someone who'd be like I'm gonna start bicycling and buy the bike and everything and then do it once and hate it. I get obsessive about things and get in phases of things, but it's usually like a musician or a thing, and then I just like kind of get obsessed with it for a few weeks, and then that's it. And I'm genuinely obsessed with it, but then it goes away, and then also, and it's not like a commitment to financially to something.
Yes, yes, that's good. Have you ever gone through a Bach phase?
No. I mean, I went to music school, so we had to like listen to it. And
who's your
whatnot.
favorite classical composer?
I don't really, I remember there would be pieces and individual things that I liked, but I don't think there was anyone that I was like, ooh, I love their stuff. Like I would modern things. You know
I mean, when I was singing, I was like, because I wanted to be like, you know me, I was like, oh, I'm going to be the greatest singer of all time.
Yeah.
So I would listen to like Pavarotti and there's some Juan name, but he was like the tenor. The tenor.
Yeah.
And I hated almost all of that music. It was
like,
so slow.
anytime I did it, it was like me pretending.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It would be
yes,
like,
I totally know.
It's like and I would feel like I was on Frasier. Like I would be like, I'd be like, oh, this is me being like a smart person. But I genuinely did not get anything out of it. Every once in a while, there'd be like individual snippets of things. That I'd be like, that's beautiful. But then you try to like go to the whole thing. It's like a 4-hour thing. And you're like, I just like that 3 minutes that were there.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I like the big arias. La Boheme, I would maybe see La Boheme, but
Rent, even
Rent, yeah. I remember because Pavarotti, who was Pavarotti's voice was good enough that like there is something where you're like, oh, this is glorious, this voice. But I remember seeing a filmed version of La Boheme, and he plays, I guess it's Roger, from Rent,
not the Mark.
No, not Mark.
December 24th, 9 p.m.
And Pavarotti, like it's the third act or whatever, his lover's dying of, and it wasn't AIDS and that, it was like the plague.
Yeah.
And Pavarotti is singing this love ballad. She's dying, and he sounds so good. He is smiling so big as he's like beautifully. He like, you can see in real time, he's like, I'm the greatest singer in the world.
Yeah.
As he's singing over his dead person. And opera just sucks, man.
What is that? What's the song? Is that Love Boheme? What the famous one, like
yeah. Oh, Che Galita, but yeah.
What's that from?
That's from La Boheme.
Oh, okay.
That has the high C.
Yes.
So that's the thing you wanted as the tenor.
Yeah.
What was like the highest note? What was it like? Oh, that's the highest I can go.
I think it wasn't that high. I can like scream sing something kind of loud, but like in terms of like full like with vibrato, it'd probably be like I think like I got uncomfortable like G's and A's. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I wasn't going much.
Those
higher than
A's, I dreamed of having them, but like the G's ended up.
Yeah.
I look back, I'm like, I always had teachers. They'd be like, just be a baritone and have a happy life, and I'd be like, no, I want this note.
Yeah.
And my God.
Yeah.
I think I said the crack. Did I tell the cracking story?
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah, you did.
But there was another time I was singing "Glory" in high school. "Glory" from Rent, which is Adam Pascal sang it originally, and that hits an A. It goes like "Glory," and it was like a variety show type thing, and I mean I went up and I was like,
oh God,
"Glory," and I cried so hard after. It was so humiliating.
I would pay $20 real for footage of you in a talent show singing "Glory" from Rat as a high schooler.
Oh,
what song? Like, isn't it like about writing one good song before he died? Or
yeah.
Yeah.
There's this. I saw the other two had a really funny thing where they were talking about the main guy was saying he did Fiddler on the Roof in middle school. And he thought it was good.
Yeah,
and this teacher was like, no, you weren't.
No, you weren't.
You think there was any 8th grade boy who was like nailing Tevye?
Yeah.
The Jewish immigrant Anna Tevka?
Oh. Well, I'm glad your dad's doing okay though.
Yeah, dad's doing okay. We're just back to the same frustrating dynamic. I think there was a real like.
How often do you talk? I mean, is it you're talking more because of checking up on his?
Yeah, a little bit more, but I think it's really hard. He doesn't have retention, so he doesn't know. I promise, if we put a gun to his head and we said, "What's the name of my sketch team?" that he wouldn't know it.
Yeah,
there's no way he knows your name. There's no way he could pick you out of a police lineup. There's no way he knows the name of this podcast. There's no way he knows the difference between an agent and a manager. Even though, and it's. What do you do when someone forgets? I know what it's like where I'm like, I feel bad. I don't remember a lot of people's names.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's my fault, but I probably could do more. But it's like, what do you do at a certain point? I've had those conversations where I don't know if it was with Tova. I'm sure it's before Tova, but it was probably about someone else I was dating. And I got to a point with my dad where I was like, stop asking me what her name is, or he does like game, like he'll do like a Tuva, Tiva, Tava, and I'm like, what is it though? And he doesn't know.
Yeah.
And I would say you have to. I would get mad, and you get mad. And you're like, let's.
There's a frustrating thing because you're like ultimately, Dad. The joke is that you don't know this major component in my life, and you're like, it's like I understand you're trying to make a light thing of like I can't, but you're like, but like ultimately the punchline is that I don't actually know this thing about your life, which is a huge part of your life. So yeah, that's very frustrating.
So it's just like the same of where you don't talk to a friend for a long time, and it gets really hard to like gain traction in a conversation because you have to explain so much. It feels overwhelming to explain, especially with like with like acting or comedy stuff. Like, they're like, oh, your manager? What's your manager? They don't know what to ask.
And you can sometimes feel yourself trying to portray it in a way that they'll understand, which then feels false to you or weird, or you're like pumping something up unnaturally to try and give them some sort of frame of reference. And it's very difficult to do and to explain to people in those terms.
And then I stopped like doing, there was a time I'd be like, oh yeah, I had a callback for this thing. And then you split this up between my mom and my dad, and sometimes my former stepdad. Then all of a sudden, 3 months later, you finally got over the fact that you didn't get it. And they're like, so what happened with the thing? And you're like, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I regret, this is why I had the showcase for SNL.
Yeah.
And like, I every person now that asks me how the SNL showcase go.
You're like, you didn't see the
press release?
Deadline article? Without my name in it? I did not get it. You didn't have a group chat with other people all talking about who got it?
Can you imagine like your parents being like, you see Sarah Squirm got the feature. Sarah Squirm, she's really going to shake it up over there at SNL. That's very what a bold turn for them.
Oh, that's so funny. That's really what I think of my parents. Knowing Sarah Squirm is very funny.
I do think Sarah Squirm is one of those people that my uncle, I think, is friends with her dad or something.
Interesting.
I feel like it might be my uncle's friends with her uncle too. Just his uncle connection. Yeah. And like, yeah, you should talk to Sarah. And I'm like, it's too late now.
It's too late now. Yeah, bold.
Sorry. You submitted a video for SNL too.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't.
No, that's why I'm confused why they didn't contact me again. I didn't even submit anything. No, I filmed some stuff and then I was like, I have no way to get it to them. You know what I mean? And other years I'd like tried to get it, and so it's just like I was not doing that again.
Yeah, if you don't have like a friend, I mean, it does feel, agent or manager.
I'll put something together. They asked for it, but it's a little like they have their thing, and
Yeah. Well, next year. I mean, it's never been my fantasy. I mean, it seems like I don't know if my brain lends itself to that show, that environment. I know I don't.
Oh God, you would be, I think, very stressed.
You wouldn't be, Russell.
I think no. I think
you'd be very stressed too.
Oh, I think so too. I'm saying like you. I think you'd be great. But I also think that like there's something about the amount of like you. Like the amount of, it seems like people like you have like 20 some odd writers then being like, okay, we're rewriting stuff quickly. And like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes you're like, you know what you want so much that I feel like you would but I think you would also have a healthy thing of being like freedom to be like, give over to it.
I think when with Norm Macdonald dying and watching like all his Weekend Update clips, I was like, oh, Weekend Update is a really cool thing, or it can be. Yeah, it's a cool opportunity. Yeah, it's a cool space. I've always liked. I mean, I've always been a big Michael Che fan, and I think they do a good job together. But seeing Norm do it, it felt like more of an artistic, riskier venture. I guess
for sure.
It was also before there was stand up fucking everywhere. So like him making those OJ jokes was really
yeah. There wasn't Twitter doing all that too.
Yeah,
that's I would imagine that's like. the thing that had changed in like the last 10 years, you're like, it really is like you've seen almost all the takes by the time Saturday rolls around.
Yeah.
So you're like, I don't begrudge you for picking smaller things to cover because you're like, well, we've heard all the jokes on Trump or blah blah blah. You're like,
and Twitter's like,
it's harder because then you're like everyone has a variation of the same joke. Sometimes people are like they stole it, and you're like, well, it's easy to see how that joke gets.
And Twitter, you really get like you get the dark ones, you get the fucked up ones.
Yeah.
You got to be really. That's why I really like. I think why it made me laugh so much. Weekend Update where Michael Che and Colin Jost would write each other's jokes, and it would be very racial because like it was for people listening. It would be very. At least for Colin Jost, Michael Che would make some crazy racist jokes,
right?
And it was so funny because it was surprising in a way where it's just hard to be shocking anymore.
Yeah.
So like it took something that extreme for me to be like shocked by a punchline and like, oh my God, they said that on television.
Yeah. Well, you didn't get it, and we don't have to be pro SNL.
That's true. It's one of those, but it is funny where I didn't think I cared. Listen. I didn't think I cared. I did the showcase. I think it went well. I felt like
very
good.
well. I was there.
Some like Grace. I got to learn her last name so we can ask her. But like she said something nice to me after.
Yeah.
And in my head,
she's very funny too.
In my head, as a stand-up, I'm always like, people think I'm like a corny like cornball. Because I'm jokey. It's traditional stand-up to a certain extent.
Yes.
I'm not doing weird things. So for like I see those cool people, and she was like, "You were really good," and I was like, "I feel good."
Yeah.
And I thought I didn't care. I never thought I would make it further at SNL. I don't know anyone there.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were going to take any like straight white guys, but then it looks like they're taking a couple, and and then it didn't happen, and all of a sudden I was like, I think it was our friend Chris, who was like, it was one of those like, you might be upset about that, and I'd be like, no, I'm not, and then I hung up the phone. I was like, I think I'm upset about it.
Yeah, of course, because it's a big thing either way, and it's just it feels of course you want to like, even if you don't ultimately end of the thing, you want to go as far as you can with it, and you did really well, and
it's insane. You just wish there were more of these kinds of shows.
Yeah.
Because so many comedians, first of all, comedians, it's no I'm not revealing anything. A lot of comedians shit all over this show.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Oh, God, yeah.
And it's like, why aren't there more shows that it is this old kind of old thing.
Well, but then you're like, the thing is like, you guys for stand-ups going on and doing a Sat on the Tonight Show doesn't result in always a lot, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, that's not a paid thing that is gonna, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, here's your exposure, like anything else in the comedy world. And so you're like, that's not an opportunity to work and to be like consistent, so there aren't that, surprisingly there, SNL still is somehow the only, like not the only, but in that live kind of old school way thing, and so, and it's, you just wish there were more things like it.
Well, they've tried it. It's tough. I don't know. They did that NBC one. Remember they did
Maya
one?
and Marty?
Yeah, Maya and Marty. That didn't quite work.
Well, it was like all the SNL people did it. You know what I mean? It was
yeah.
It was like basically the SNL people on their vacation time.
SNL on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So let's see. Did you want to save your This Has Gotta Stop for Ian?
No. No. Let's just have him do his, and then we'll do ours now. Yeah.
Yeah. You said you had a good one. You texted me.
I don't.
You texted me just to remind you had a good one.
I do, but I don't know. It's stupid, but. Okay, this has got to.
Wait, what's this? You texted.
No, I know. I was texting you in real time, like while it was happening, and then like later on, I was like, maybe this is not a good one, but okay, this is all right. So This Has Gotta Stop is wiping your butt because
you texted me in the middle of this.
Listen, because I think it's crazy. Humans have evolved. We have evolved, and we still are wiping our butts.
Uh-huh.
There are animals that don't have to stop moving. They can walk and poop at the same time, and they don't have to wipe their butts. And it's not like it's a mess. Like my dog poops, and I can't smell poop on his butt, or like there's not like poop hanging off of his hairs down there. Like other animals have figured out how to evolve that they don't have to wipe. But if we didn't wipe, like it would be bad.
It would be bad.
It would be really bad. So I'm like, what happened? What was the breakdown in evolution where if we just committed a little longer, we could have not had to do that now? Do you know what I mean? Like something has happened. Like we have to get on a device. We have to stop what we're doing, find a device, sit on it, use another device to clean our butt. It's so much work, and no other animal has to do that. And I'm not saying that. I just think that it's crazy. Like, is the trade-off for running everything that we have to do that? But I just think there's been a breakdown in evolution, and I wonder what it was, how we could have evolved more to not have to wipe our butts.
It is interesting. I never thought about the fact that like the dog doesn't just smell like shit.
No, I mean once in a while it has to run its butt on the ground to like get an extra cleaning.
That's a bit of a wipe.
But that's not. I would say having a dog. My dog does that once every 3 months. Do you know what I mean? It's not a lot.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't wiping and just going about my business.
Let's do that before the vegan for 2 weeks. Let's go 2 weeks without wiping. I think
It's just
first
a lot.
of all,
Like sometimes
your
you're
view
like,
of evolution is highly incorrect about if we had tried more. There seems to be a lot of like, well, if we had put in the extra oomph.
No, I'm
as
saying
we
if we
evolved.
just kept being like, I'm not gonna wipe. I'm not gonna wipe. Do you know what I mean? If we just been like our
But the way
bodies.
evolution works, that means that the people who had like less poopy buttholes would survive because they would mate more, because people would be like, well, you smell less like shit, so we're gonna fuck more. Like that's how the evolution would work.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's a rough way to.
I'm just saying, how did this happen that other animals, they're not wiping their butts with anything? Can you imagine
Well,
seeing
here's my wonder.
squirrels and things having to wipe their butts?
We know human beings have become way more cleanly. I'm sure there was a time where like wiping was more cursory, or like only the elite wiped. Like everyone's underwear was just filled with skid marks.
That's true.
I feel like I heard about skid marks more when I was
Well,
younger.
and some people probably will be like, they'll come and say that, bidets and whatnot, but that's still a device. I'm saying, how can we get that pure asshole that
Well, here's another thing.
spits it out and then there's nothing there?
I'll tell you another thing that I think it is
Yeah.
because, and this is why the squatty potties are so popular.
Yeah.
The way that we poop at an angle.
Yes.
Where our cheeks are kind of closed.
Oh yeah.
So it's like
You're right.
we're squeezing the
You're
tube.
right. That's it.
I think if you do a full squat, there'd probably just be a little bit.
and old people probably can't, and young people. It's probably a lot of people. It's probably it's more comfortable, definitely the way we're doing it now. But I think, yeah. Oh, that's
I don't know if
interesting.
I've ever pooped in a full like sitting squat. I should
No,
try
I've
it.
never.
Have you ever used the squatty potty though? If they're
No.
in a house, I'll put
No.
my feet up.
They're you would use someone else's?
You just put your feet on them.
Yeah, but I'm still associated with like they're there to do things. I don't know. They're there to poop in it. It feels like it's too close to. But I use other people's toilet roll. Like I'm not like
That is
bringing
true.
my own toilet paper with me.
I used to have a little OCD thing, using other people's plates and silverware. I always thought they were like gross or something.
Yeah, I just don't. Sometimes.
Now, what happened to you? Did you have a bad wipe session or something?
Listen, I feel very lucky in my life that usually I'm pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't want to brag, but usually
Well, you don't have a hairy ass, right?
No, and usually it's like it's just pretty like clean. It's pretty like I go, and it's not like an ordeal. But every once in a while, you do one, and it's just like I like it's just like, and where is it like? And then you're like, did I cut it off early? Did I?
Yeah.
Is there still poop in there? It doesn't feel like there is, but like, what's going on?
There's definitely some comedian. I feel like Pete Holmes. Something about it's like there's a marker in there.
Oh,
and
that was on the it was on Parks and Rec.
Was it?
Oh
my god!
Andy Dwyer did a bit where he was like talking to a doctor, and he's like, I wipe and I wipe and I wipe. It's like a marker down there. But
Hey.
that's how it feels. Every once in a while, you're like, I'm not being. I again, it's like maybe once every 3 months. It's not a big deal, but it is one of those things where you're like, I just was thinking like, this is insane that I have to every day put my hand in my butt to clean it.
Mm-hmm.
Like because of,
and you're lucky
because we're pooping would be amazing without the wiping. It's a great feeling. You are literally getting waste out of your body. It's what if we didn't have to wipe, it would be so great. And so it's frustrating because it's a really cool thing that we get to do. And I just don't want to have to wipe my butt,
I agree. You're just lucky. I mean, I have a hairy ass.
Yeah.
And so that wipe situation, that's me every time.
How do you make sure it's clear, like with the individual hairs?
I mean, I just do a lot of wipes, and then the thing I have to worry about is the dingleberries. It's my least favorite kind of berry.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
I've had this is really graphic. This is just for the Patreon subscribers. There's been a couple dates in my life where, but if things are gonna get there, I will go to the bathroom. And I'll try to crane my neck around to see if if everything's clear back there.
Gianmarco, I'm really gonna throw up.
Have you ever been eating pussy and a piece of toilet tissue comes into your mouth?
Has not.
So I've had that happen once.
Yeah,
I've had that happen once, and man, oh man, that was a tough. Did we have?
We don't begrudge her, but it's.
Oh, I begrudge. I'm like, if we're about to hook up, I'm like, do you want to go to the bathroom to do the check? I'll check the back, you check the front.
Take full baths before we do it.
I think there's something really nice about sex after like a shower.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Big fan.
Perfect.
Of that. Big fan of that.
That was tough.
Sorry, we got real graphic, and this whole episode's been kind of graphic.
Yeah, because there's a heart surgery, there's COVID.
We should warn our younger listeners.
Do we have any younger?
No, I don't. I hope not.
So I had a lot of gigs get canceled. It was horrible. God bless couples who stayed together during quarantine. I mean, this was a tough time. Portova was there. Remember, to go back, she had packed for one day in 15 minutes.
Oh my God.
And she didn't have COVID. Didn't test positive. She was negative. She had it once. She thought maybe she had it again, but she thought that because she had it once last year and the vaccine, she was totally fine. But yeah, her friends sent her some like goodies, some snacks, some clothes, some panties, and bras.
That's nice.
That is very nice. They sent me underwear too.
Oh, nice.
But it was the wrong size.
Oh, what was it?
It was large. I'm more of a medium.
Extra small.
I need extra little small for my teeny dick. So it was just an utter nightmare. It felt like such a flashback to old COVID times.
Yes.
We even got like a puzzle, and we did not make it past one border.
Wow.
It was just, I don't know. I just felt like I was going crazy. I just felt like to do it, to be stuck in this space and feel like the world was moving this time.
Yeah.
There was something nice about quarantining in the beginning where it's like, okay, everyone,
no one's doing anything.
No one's doing anything. There's nothing you need to be doing right now. And this time it just felt like the world was moving, and I just got the short straw.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
You should be. So we have, so to the Patreon people, I am appreciative of letting us skip that one episode.
Yes, thank you.
We'll make it up to you. But I'm gonna go to LA Thursday. I'm gonna record an episode. I don't like recording episodes without you, but I will.
Yeah.
With Doug Benson.
Doug Benson, stand up. Very
famous for smoking a lot of weed. He texted when I texted him to do the show. He's like, "Let's meet at noon," or should I say high noon? And I was like, "Okay, all right, you're gonna lean into the brand even with me in this little conversation between us."
Message.
He was someone I watched just when I was like way.
I remember his name. He used to be on Comedy Central stuff. Like he had,
he had all
his
sorts
specials. And
He
stuff.
had
Yeah.
his show was called Getting Dug with High,
Oh yes,
where him
okay.
and people would get
Yes,
probably like the first guy to think like, oh yeah, let's do interviews stoned.
stoned. Yeah,
Which I thought of as like a pod when I was thinking of podcast ideas. I'm like, I'll do that.
yeah.
We'll get stoned. I think we should do episodes where we try like every drug, like one, like we do one episode with pot and one episode with cocaine.
No, I'm not doing anything other than pot, and I would not be comfortable doing pot on recording. I don't do it enough to like know how I'm going to react to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we won't do a live stream.
I'm just saying we could listen. Who knows? I don't like what I could.
feel like what in your mind are you going to say?
No,
You think you're going to do gibberish?
No, but sometimes you're listening to someone and you're like, when I feel high, I'm like, I feel so high. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I don't do it enough to feel comfortable doing that. You know?
But you would do drunk episodes, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I would do a drunk episode.
We should do a drunk episode.
Yeah.
I want you to take this barbecue, this grill that I have here.
Oh my god, you still have
this
it.
fucking. So just if you weren't, so I got this grill. I was supposed to do this sponsored content, and it was paid, but like, and it was fine money, but like, ultimately, when you start thinking about the logistics, you're like nowhere near enough.
Yeah.
And we were gonna put the grill on your roof and film these sketches. Then you got COVID.
Yeah.
Then I got COVID.
Yeah.
And now I have a
Grill.
$350 grill.
Well, you should
in the
offer
middle
it
of
up.
my small kitchen. Yeah, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for them. I don't know if they're like, I didn't sign anything,
Oh,
but I'm like waiting for like an email being like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And I'm just out. Once I got COVID, I was just like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. All my responsibilities are over. So I'm alive. Stay safe. Thank you to our new patrons. We, just so you guys know, just to review, we're going to be doing these Patreon exclusive episodes, the 1st and the 15th. We are going to do that episode where we listen back to that bachelor party gig that I did.
Yes.
I promised that a while ago, and let us know if you have any This Has Gotta Stops you want Russell and I to discuss. I'm
or
sure
any topics or like larger episode ideas.
Yeah.
We're open to any of it.
what we're gonna do the vegan thing eventually. Maybe next year. We're gonna go vegan.
We should
for
do it
2 weeks.
we should do it in the beginning of January. Like when we're healthy, like when you're like in a new year and you're like, I'm going to be healthy, and it's easier to do it in January.
I'm healthy all year, but
No,
sure,
but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Do you do that thing like the 30? I've had friends who did like the 30.
No, but I do like I did do a thing this year for like January, February, March, April that was like
I did remember that.
like healthier. And then you feel better, and then what you do is then the rest of the time you get to like just it's chaos, and then you just do it every every first 4 months of the year for the rest of your life, just to rein
Just
it
chaos.
in. Yeah,
just fucking chaos. Just shitting everywhere. But thank you so much. This has been quite a trip, but I'm happy to see you again, Russell.
Yes.
And yes, this episode is coming out the same day as our other early access episode. Let us know anything we can do. We're gonna figure out merch soon. Things are building, things are growing. But this is the downside.
1, 2, 3. Downside. You're listening to The Downside
The Downside.
with Gianmarco Soresi.